Statehouse trembles badly after William Ruto panicked. This came as a result of the Trans Nzoia Governor George Natembeya, who declared the national government has delivered nothing to his county, arguing that residents have been denied meaningful development projects since Kenya attained independence. The outspoken governor made the remarks while speaking during a funeral in Kwanza constituency, Trans Nzoia County, on Tuesday, July 14, 2026. Addressing mourners, Natembeya maintained that successful national administrations have failed to invest in the county, leaving residents without tangible benefits from the national government development initiatives. According to the governor, the situation is so severe that he could not point to even a single stalled national project within Trans Nzoia. He argued that the absence of unfinished national projects reflects what he described as decades of neglect by the national and also central government. Natembeya stated that the national government has done nothing for Trans Nzoia and claimed that there is not even one stalled project dating back to independence, and in his view this demonstrates a long-standing failure by the state to channel meaningful investment into the county. His remarks immediately added to an already heated political debate surrounding development in Trans Nzoia, where disagreements over the roles of the national and also county governments have continued to dominate public discussion. And the governor's comments also come at a politically sensitive moment, and in recent months several leaders from Trans Nzoia have publicly accused him of contributing to the county's inability to attract major national government projects. These leaders argue that Natembeya's persistent criticism of President William Ruto's administration, coupled with his opposition politics, has strained relationship with the national government. And according to these critics, the governor's confrontational politics and political approach has made it more difficult for Trans Nzoia to benefit from key development programs initiated by the national administration. Natembeya's latest statement therefore serves as a direct rejection of those accusations, and rather than accepting responsibility for what critics describe as slow national investment in the county, he insists that the problem predates his tenure and stretches back to the country's independence. The exchange highlights an ongoing dispute over accountability for development, with the different leaders presenting sharply contrasting explanations for why major projects have either stalled or failed to materialize. That disagreement became even more visible following remarks made by Principal Secretary for Industries Juma Mkwana concerning one of the county's flagship development projects. Only days before Natembeya's latest address, Mkwana criticized the governor over the construction of Trans Nzoia Industrial Park, saying that the county government had failed to deliver despite receiving full financial support from the national government. Speaking during an interview on the Ikuwekwe Facebook page on Saturday, October 11, 2025, the Principal Secretary expressed disappointment over the progress of the industrial park located in Namandala. According to Mkwana, the Ministry of Trade and Investments had already released the entire 116 million required for construction of the project. However, he said the development had failed to move beyond the foundation stage, despite the funds having been transferred to the county government. The Principal Secretary said that he could confirm that the 116 million had been dispatched to Trans Nzoia for construction of the industrial park, yet the project had not progressed beyond its foundation, and his comments presented a different perspective on the development debate currently unfolding in the county. And while Natembeya argues that the national government has failed to initiate projects in Trans Nzoia, Mkwana maintains that at least in the case of the industrial park, the national government fulfilled its financial obligations by providing the required funding. The principal secretary further criticized the governor's public criticism of government institutions. He argued that Natembeya has frequently questioned the performance and integrity of various state agencies, while in his view, failing to ensure completion of a project that had already received full funding. Muhwana maintained that once the national government allocates and disburses funds for projects assigned to county governments, responsibility shifts to the devolved units. He explained that counties are expected to oversee procurement, supervise construction, manage implementation, and also ensure projects are completed after receiving the allocated resources. His remarks underline the constitutional division of responsibilities between the national and county governments, where financing and also implementation may involve different levels of government depending on the specific project. And in this case, Muhwana argued that the ministry had already performed its role by releasing the required funds. The principal secretary did not limit his criticism to the Trans Nzoia alone. He also pointed to Bungoma County, saying it too had experienced delays in the implementation of the industrial park project despite receiving full funding from the ministry. However, he noted that Bungoma had made comparatively better progress than Trans Nzoia, and according to Muhwana, construction in Bungoma had reached nearly 40% completion, while the Trans Nzoia project remained at the foundation stage despite receiving its full allocation. The differing accounts from Natembeya and Muhwana illustrates a broader political contest over development and accountability that often emerges between county governments and national administration. For residents, the debate extends beyond political exchanges. It raises practical questions about whether promises and the promised projects are reaching communities, whether allocated public funds are translating into completed infrastructure, and which level of government bears responsibility when implementation slows down or stalls. Industrial parks are generally intended to support manufacturing, attract investment, create employment opportunities, and stimulate local economic growth. Delays in such projects can therefore become politically significant because they affect expectations surrounding jobs, business opportunities, and regional development. Natembeya's claim that Trans Nzoia has received no meaningful national government projects since independence reflects the broader argument that the country has historically been marginalized. On the other hand, Muhwana's position is that the national government has provided resources for development and that implementation challenges at the county level should not be attributed to the state alone. These competing narratives are likely to continue shaping political debate within Trans Nzoia as leaders seek to convince residents that their interpretation best reflects the county's development record. The discussion also comes against the backdrop of heightened political activity involving Governor Natembeya, whose recent political statements and positioning have attracted growing national attention. And as political competition intensifies, the development projects are increasingly becoming central to public debate, and with both national and county leaders using them as evidence to support their respective positions. Ultimately, the dispute highlights the importance of transparency, accountability, and effective coordination between the two levels of government. And while leaders continue exchanging claims over responsibility, residents remain focused on whether development commitments are translated into completed projects that improve livelihoods. For now, Governor George Natembeya maintains that Trans Nzoia has been overlooked by successive national governments, where the Ruto's government is the worst, while Principal Secretary Juma Muhwana insists that at least some key projects have already received national funding and that responsibility for implementation now rests with the county government. The differing positions leave voters with competing accounts over who should be held accountable for the pace of development in Trans Nzoia, a debate that is likely to remain a prominent political issue in the county. And what are your thoughts on this development? Share your views in the comment section down below. And if you enjoyed this report, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for more in-depth political news and analysis.